Hello, my name is Jesse. Welcome back. This is part 12 of Demonic Upbringing. And I was talking about just years of this waiting to die, messed up state, not thinking about suicide. Uh, in the beginning of all this, when I was still living with my dad before he sold his house, I was doing monthly visits to a psychiatrist. And I go in and I sit down and he literally asked me the same questions. This went on for about 7 months. And he would say, "Are you going to hurt anybody else?" I was like, "Nope." He says, "Are you taking your medication?" I said, "Yeah." He says, "Are you going to hurt yourself?" I said, "No." He would write some stuff down. I say, "Okay, I'll see you next month." I was like, "Okay." And I left. Didn't help. Didn't help at all. And after a while, I just stopped going. And then after a while after that, I just stopped taking the medication. And it never got worse. I mean, in fact, I got better. Uh, no more brain fog, no more zombified state, no more side effects, no more electric shocks in my limbs and stuff like that. My head was still pretty messed up. I didn't know what to believe. I didn't know what was going on. And while staying at my dad's again before he sold the house, my mother and stepdad had bought me a stereo. They know I love music. And I would lock myself in my dad's room. I ended up putting a padlock on the inside of my door, I didn't want anybody coming. I was really paranoid, you know. I thought they were trying to kill me, you know. So I'm listening to the stereo that my mom and stepdad bought. It was late at one night. My friends and relatives, every once in a while, would still get me some pot. I would still smoke marijuana. And at that point, it didn't help. It didn't help. In fact, it made me more paranoid. So all the things that I liked about it before weren't good. So I finally, through my thick skull, realized that I got to stop doing this because it's not helping me anymore. It's not fun. So I stopped. And I was listening to music one night, and I was just scared all the time, just constantly afraid. But I would get breakthroughs. I would get moments of courage. And I had my headphones on, and I just said aloud to whatever was out there. I just said, "Look, if you want to tell me something, or if I need to know something, then just talk to me. Just let me know what I need to do." And then I put my headphones on, and I put it to the AM FM radio. I can't remember if I was AM or FM. And I just started tuning in the dial. And I get static and all that kind of stuff. And then I got to one station where it just came in crystal clear. And it was beautiful music. Like strings, like orchestra type music. And I was like, okay, this is soothing. This is nice. I listened to that for about 20 seconds, and then an audible voice through the music said my name in a female voice, and it was so beautiful, and it said, "Jesse." It said that 3 times, and I freaked out. I was like, nope, this is too much. I don't know what this means. So I ripped my headphones off. I grabbed that stereo. I ripped it out of the wall. I went downstairs into the backyard, and I destroyed it. I took the boots to it, and I just busted the whole thing. That really freaked me out. Really freaked me out. And to this day, I wonder what would have happened if I listened to that entire message. Don't know. Same thing as I wonder what would have happened if I went to Buddy's church way back when, or if I went to the church that the cabbie talked to me about, or if I went to the church that the youth group was talking about. Don't know. So, yeah, then my dad sells the house. I do all that for years. The girlfriend that I left ended up taking me back, and we had a relationship for a long time. But I lived terribly. I was so out of shape. I'm living on government assistance at this point, so at least I've got food and shelter. But I'm never leaving my apartment, like only to get food, and most of the time I'd ask her to go get it for me because I just don't like being outside. I'm scared all the time. And I'm just indulging in music. Again, I went back to metal. I went back to what I was comfortable with, and I would just worship and listen to that nonstop. And then, how we lived was just terrible. Terrible. It was filthy. It was disgusting. And we had some cats. We never cleaned their litter boxes or anything like that. It was just gross. And family members and friends would come and visit me, and I don't know how they stood being in that apartment, because it was disgusting. And I remember one night thinking, again, I kind of got like brave, and I was just speaking to whatever would listen, and I said, you know what, if I ever want children, I can't raise them in this environment. I can't have them in this environment. I can't. Well, 2 weeks later, my apartment building burned down. Lost everything. And then 2 weeks after that, my girlfriend tells me that she's pregnant, and we're going to have a baby. I was so selfish. We had made an agreement before, if we took precautions, sometimes, that if she ever did get pregnant, we would abort. And thankfully, she was really close with my mother. And my mother convinced her, well, she had her own say in this too, that no, I'm keeping this child. And I was like, if I don't have enough on my plate, now I've got somebody else to look after. I can't do that. I can't even look after myself. I remember feeling my life was over. So me and my girlfriend get a place together through the help of the government. We're expecting the child, but I mean, I look back on it now with so much shame that through the 9-month process, I never once put my hand to the womb, never put my ear to the womb. I was dreading this child because I was just so darn selfish, you know? And I was still going out with friends and partying and where funds would allow, and just getting drunk, because when I got drunk was the only time I wasn't afraid. They call it liquid courage, right? I just wasn't afraid. But I would drink to let go. And yeah, not good. But I still remember the morning she says, we gotta go because the baby's coming. And we go to the hospital, and she's in labor, and she was in an 8-hour labor, I think. I don't remember. I was too selfish, didn't care. And then my son was born. And I saw him for the first time. And I held him in my arms. And my whole brain just exploded. And it hit me. I was like, whoa. This is you. This is a little you. You can be as selfish with this little you as you are with yourself. And it was just amazing. And from that moment, the door was cracked open, I believe, to God. It was that miracle of life. And it changed everything. And that's my son. So he stayed with his mother in the hospital for a few days, couldn't wait for him to get home. And then I was a dad. And I was trying to teach him. And he was just the most awesome baby I'd ever been around. It was just amazing. I didn't care about changing diapers, and that stuff never bothered me. And I just did my best. But I was still scared. I was still messed up. But this gave me hope. This gave me something to look forward to. Remember, I didn't think I was going to live this long. So yeah, that was really awesome. And then I do some really nasty things. I ended up having an affair with his mother when he was about 3, my son. And I leave his mother, and I leave my son when he was about 4. And I eventually move in with the woman that I had an affair with. So now my son is a product of a broken home, which I was, and I'm not seeing this now. I'm seeing this in hindsight, that it's just a cycle repeating. And I live with this woman who I did love for some time. And at this point, I've got the internet, and I'm starting to research things. I'm starting to look at stuff, and I'm starting to seek what is really going on out there. And what I come to find changed my whole life for the better. So stay tuned, be blessed, in Jesus' holy name, amen.